Hey, what's up everyone? Adam here with brahwegotthis, and today we are bringing you another build guide here in the channel, and this is the Magicka Nightblade build for DPS. This is something that I am excited to show you because the Nightblade DPS is something that I've really started to like as I've played with it some through the beginner series, and just from playing in the PTS a little bit. It's got a lot of amazing skills and utility, and I really try to play on some of those strengths in this build. And so I've tried to create a beginner-friendly build for you, but also a build that does some good damage and you're able to sustain, and again, just not have a very complicated rotation. Before we get started, I do want to give a huge thanks to all the patrons. If you'd like to become a patron, check out the link below in the description. You can get your name here in the channel on the beginning of every video, and you can get early access to videos plus much more. So check that link out in the description. And you can always watch me play live and ask me questions there on twitch.tv/brahwegotthis. That is all in the description as well. And you can check out all of our helpful tips and resources at brahwegotthis.com and in the Discord. All those links are below in the description. But this Nightblade build derives from my Ultimate Class Guide Nightblade build. If you watch that video, it's like an hour and 10 minutes long. You should totally check it out. It gives you the ins and outs of the Nightblade class. I give you 4 starter builds in that: Stamina DPS, Magicka DPS, Tank, and Healer. And so I took that build from there and I just tweaked it a little bit. And so I wanted to do an in-depth video and guide on that because I've been really enjoying this in the PTS. And I really want to make this my character on the EU server when I do and finish the beginner series. If you're not familiar with that series, check it out below in the description. I basically do a let's play level 1 through 160 CP and show you every single decision that I make. But essentially, this is what this build is, and so I'm really excited to get into that here. Before we go any further though, if you do like this content, make sure to like, subscribe, heavy attack that bell icon to increase your DPS and to stay up to date on all the content in the channel. But like all my build videos, I will have timestamps in the description, but again, if you skip anything, it's going to be stuff that is important and you really do need to see and hear some of that, so that is up to you. But again, if you do skip, it's going to be stuff that you miss, so I would recommend that you watch through each section so you understand how everything works. But let's go ahead and jump into it. So starting off, I am a Breton. I love Breton for Magicka DPS. There are other races you could use. You could use Khajiit, you could use Altmer. There's many choices with this, but I like using Breton. Right now, our stats are 64 points into Magicka. We have 39.2k max Magicka, and that actually will go up when we're on the front bar to 41.7k max Magicka, and this is without any buffs. It's an insane amount of Magicka. Our spell crit right now without any buffs is 67.5%, which is insane. And you can check out the other stats here as well. We're using Longfin Pasty with melon sauce as the buff food. I always use that. I love it. We're using the Thief Mundus stone. And again, we are a Breton. Now, let's go into the skills and the passives, okay? So on our back bar here, this is basically our buff bar and our bar that just allows us to do, set up our damage and all of our resources and sustain. So we've got Unstable Wall of Fire. This is just an AoE that you put down. It's in the destruction line. It's pretty simple. Lay it down. Really simple. Siphoning attacks. This is something that's going to give you resources back. Your light and heavy attacks are going to heal you and give you Magicka, which is amazing. Plus, it's going to give you an additional 4,270 Magicka as well. Merciless Resolve. This is a 40-second uptime buff that basically just buffs your critical damage. If you do 5 light attacks, you're going to have 10% increased critical damage. It is insane, okay? Keep this up all the time. Dark Shade. This summons a shade for 20 seconds, deals magic damage, and it also does like AoE magic damage and inflicts minor maim. This, again, just keep it up. It's very simple to use. Next skill is Flame Reach. This is actually the destructive reach skill here, third one on the destruction staff. This is going to devastate an enemy with a charge from your staff, dealing 4,014 flame damage, an additional 8,695 flame damage over 10 seconds. Enemies hit by the initial hit are afflicted with the burning status effect. So I really like this skill. You'll see why we're using this here in a second. The ultimate on this bar is Soul Tether. Okay, Soul Tether is going to deal 11,405 magic damage, which is insane. You're also going to ravage enemies, and the enemies are tethered to you for 8 seconds, and while they remain within 10 meters, you siphon 2,346 health from them every second. which is insane. And then your allies can get the Soul Tether Synergy, dealing 10,790 magic damage to them. And this build is geared around group play, but you can see in some of the footage that basically you can solo things with this on Vet. This is geared more towards group play, but there's definitely ways you can make this more soloable. But I am making this for group dungeons, but if you have good enough skill with it, you can definitely solo with this build. Now let's go to the front bar. Sap Essence. This is from our siphoning line. This is an amazing skill. Okay, this is an AoE. This deals magic damage to all nearby enemies and healing you or your allies for 1946 plus 20% more for each enemy hit. If an enemy is hit, you gain major brutality and sorcery. So this increases your weapon and spell damage by 20% for 20 seconds. It's amazing. This is a spammable that you can use in an AoE setting. You can use a different spammable. We can get into that in a second. But this is something that's just amazing. Swallow Soul, amazing single target ability. This is going to deal 8,634 magic damage. Just remember that the magic damage that you see, we have a lot of magic damage in this build, and you'll see why. This heals you as well for 37% of the damage inflicted every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. So this is your main single target spammable until you get to execute. Okay. Third skill is Inner Light. Inner Light is just here for our bar. We're not using it. This just gives us max magicka by 5% in Major Prophecy, which increases your spell critical rating by 2629. Impale is your execute spammable. This is going to deal 4642 magic damage, and it's going to deal 300% more damage to enemies below 25% health. So basically, when enemies get below 25% health, you spam this. You stop spamming Swallow Soul, and you spam this. Twisting Path. This is an AoE that's going to buff your teammates as well with Major Expedition and you as well, and it's going to deal 2451 magic damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second. This is in the Shadow line. This you want to lay down as well. When we go into the rotation, I'll show you what you need to do, but it's very, very simple rotation. Next, Ultimate is Soul Harvest. I like using this one because this is going to give us Ultimate back, and it's going to deal a lot of magic damage, 14,862 magic damage, increasing your damage against them by 20% for 6 seconds. It's also going to afflict the enemy with Major Defile. This is an ultimate that I love. You can switch this out with Veil of Blades if you'd like. You can switch it out with Destruction Staff ultimate, and you could even use the Mage's Guild Shooting Star ultimate. Now, something you can switch out is Swallow Soul if you would like. You can switch this with Force Pulse if you're in a lot of mob fights. Again, like I said, Sap Essence can handle that, but Force Pulse is really good for that, and it's good for this build because of the armor sets that we're wearing, and you'll see that here in a second. But I absolutely love this skill, so you can always switch that out. Now let's go into the passives. Let's just start with the Destruction Staff. You can get every Destruction Staff passive here. For the armor, you can get all the light armor passives. For the guild, you can get the Mage's Guild passives, but the ones that I would really try to prioritize really is just the Magicka controller passive here, and that's really the one from the Mage's Guild. Daunted, you could get both Undaunted passives. For your class, honestly, I would just get every single passive in these lines. They're so helpful. I mean, they're just so helpful. The Shadow line as well. I mean, you're going to be using Twisting Path. You're going to be using Dark Shade. So you have that. You have Dark Vigor, which is still going to be solid. You're going to have Dark Veil. Siphoning, you're going to want all these as well. I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic. All these passives are amazing. And obviously, you're going to want your racial passives as well. Now, let's go into the armor sets. These I really like for Magicka Nightblade. All these you can get in the base game. And some of these you can get right now with an increased chance due to the year 1 event. So I would definitely recommend trying to build this right now if you can. But all of these are base game sets and they're fantastic. And again, this is a great mid-tier build for you. So the first set is Mother Sorrow. This is, again, a overland set that you can grind in Deshaun. Overland base game, it's so simple. It just adds max magicka and a bunch of spell critical. You're going to want divines on it and max magicka enchants. You want it on the body pieces. For the monster set, we're using a Lambris. Okay, I love a Lambris. 96 max magicka, and whenever you deal flame or shock damage, you have a 33% chance. Summon a meteor shower. It deals 470 flame and 470 shock damage to all enemies within 4 meters every 1 second for 5 seconds. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds and scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage. You're going to proc this a lot. I never have problems procking this. I'm using all light here as well. The next set that you can get, and this one, by the way, is this is a monster set you get from doing Vet Crypt of Hearts 1. So this is something that's very, again, simple to get. Very, very easy to get. For your next set, you're using War Maiden Jewelry, and War Maiden Inferno Staff. This is a Overland set in Vardenfell, so that's Morrowind, that's base game. This is going to add, and this is where our build kind of comes together. Spell critical, max Magicka spell damage, and it's adds 600 spell damage to your magic damage abilities. Okay, we have a lot of magic damage abilities, okay? The ones that you have are Dark Shade, you have Soul Tether, and then Sap Essence is magic damage, Swallow Soul is magic damage, Impale is magic damage, and Twisting Path is magic damage. Soul Harvest is magic damage. All of your spammables are magic damage. And if you do switch to Force Shock, this is going to as well do 9,594 magic damage as well, up to 2 nearby enemies, which is really, really good. So this set really helps the Nightblade out because a lot of our damage abilities are magic damage. I love this set, okay? Now, on the back bar, we're actually running the Master's Inferno Staff. This is farmable in Dragonstar Arena, which is in Craglorn, which is base game. Okay, so again, right now in the year 1 event, you get double drops from that. So you definitely could go take advantage of this right now. But I love this staff because it reduces the cost of destructive touch by 10% and increases your spell damage by 600 for 4 seconds after activating it. So when we're on our back bar, you're going to use your flame reach right here. That's going to give you a 600 spell damage buff for 4 seconds, which is going to be a lot of extra damage on the front bar when you switch. So I really like that. Now, you don't have to run that if you don't want to. You can switch that out with like Maelstrom. You can switch that out with Vatishran Hollow. But I really like it. I just like trying to find new things to use. And I found it to be really, really fun to use. Now, let's go into the champion points, and then we'll go into the rotation. So champion points, pretty simple. 20 into precision, 20 into Eldritch Insight, 15 to fighting finesse, 20 into Tyrus Discipline just to get the stamina if you want. We're going 20 into this for piercing, 40 into flawless ritual, 30 into war mage. And then we're going 50 deadly aim, 50 thaumaturge, and 50 biting aura. Next for red, we're going rejuvenation, slotting survival instincts for 50. We are using Sustained by Suffering, increase your health, magic, and stamina recovery by 30 per stage under the effects of a negative effect. You will be under negative effects, most likely. And then I'm also using Siphoning Spells, which restores 300 magicka per stage whenever you kill an enemy. The green is up to you. But let's go into the rotation. That's basically the build. So let's go over the rotation. I tried to make this rotation as simple as possible for you all, okay? As well, y'all, you can run potions too, like spell crit pots or spell damage pots. You could use tri-stat pots as well to just get resources back. It's really up to you with that, y'all. I like to use tri-stat pots just because we are going to be getting some major prophecy again and major brutality from, Sap Essence, and then you're going to get major prophecy from this. So it really depends on how you want to do that. But I like using tri-stat pots. Those like crown store ones you get from all the daily rewards are really solid for your potions. But for the rotation, this is your rotation. So you're going to pop your Merciless Resolve, your Siphoning attacks, then you're going to do your Shade, Wall of Elements, and then Touch, and then you switch bars. Okay? So right there, you proc a Lambris already, and your skills are going off. Now remember, your Siphoning spells or Siphoning strikes and your Shade both have a 20-second cooldown. Your Merciless Resolve has a 40-second cooldown, so you really don't have to reapply those every rotation. It's just every other rotation, essentially. So I'll show that again, basically. So what you want to do is you want to go Merciless Resolve, Siphoning attacks, Shade, Wall of Elements, Reach. Okay, and then switch bars. While you are on the back bar, what you're going to do is, if you're in an AoE setting, you're automatically going to lay down your Path of Darkness, which is your AoE, and then Sap Essence. If you're in an AoE setting, you can just spam Sap Essence. You can just spam Sap Essence. So like, look, if you go right here and you spam Sap Essence, you're just going to do a ton of damage, right? a ton of damage. So you can spam that. You can also spam the force shock if you have that on your bar, but that's what you do in like an AoE setting. But if you're on a boss fight, okay, what you're going to want to do when you're on this front bar is Path of Darkness, light attack, sap essence, light attack, and then you're going to want to swallow soul, light attack, swallow soul, light attack, swallow soul. And you're want to spam that the whole time until you hit 25%, and then you want to use Impale. That is literally your rotation, but I'll show you a more fluid rotation here so you understand how often you need to reapply everything. Because look, so again, we're going to start fresh. Merciless Resolve, Siphoning Strikes, Shade, Wall, Touch, and you go here, Twisting Path, Sap Essence, Funnel Health, or Swallow Soul, Swallow Soul, Swallow Soul, Swallow Soul. Switch bars when your wall's up, lay it down, touch, back. Path, swallow soul, swallow soul, swallow soul, swallow soul, switch back, and you've got strikes back up, shade back up, and your wall, touch, clench, all that stuff, right? So essentially what you want to do is you want to Merciless Resolve, strikes, shade, wall, touch, and then when you're on the front bar, you apply your dots again, or AoEs, and then you spam your funnel health unless they're under 25% health. But you're always going to reapply your wall of elements on the back bar switch and your touch as well, but you're not going to reapply your siphoning strikes like this one or your shade except on the next rotation, if that makes sense. So you're going to do that one every other rotation. So when you normally will apply your shade and your strikes on the first rotation, and you have your touch and your wall, you're going to come to your front bar, you're going to do all your stuff on your front bar, you're going to do your spammables, do your spammables, do your spammables, and then when you switch back, your wall is going to be ready and your touch is going to be ready, but your strikes and your shade is not. So when you go back to this bar, you want to spam again, swallow soul, and then when your strikes and shade are back up, you will reapply your strikes, shade, touch, and wall all again, just like you just started at the beginning. And then basically when your Merciless Resolve is up, you have to reapply all of them again, like at the very beginning. So I hope that made sense, but I'll go through it again and I'm going to speed it up so you guys can see what it looks like, okay? So I'm going to try to talk through it like I said, and again, you apply ultimates when you can, especially Soul Harvest, because it's going to increase your damage. But I'm going to try to speed it up here, okay? So we're going to go Merciless Resolve, strikes, shade, wall, touch, switch, sap essence, twisting path, swallow soul, swallow soul, swallow soul, use our ultimate, swallow soul, then wall, touch, path, swallow soul, swallow soul, swallow soul, swallow soul, strikes, shade, wall, touch, sap essence, path, swallow soul, swallow soul, swallow soul, swallow soul, ultimate, wall, touch, swallow soul, path, swallow soul, swallow soul, strikes, shade, Merciless Resolve, wall, touch, sap essence, path, swallow soul, swallow soul, swallow soul, swallow soul, wall, didn't mean to hit shade there, touch, path, ultimate, swallow soul, swallow soul, swallow soul, strikes, shade, touch, wall, sap, path, swallow soul, swallow soul, swallow soul. That is the rotation. I hope that made sense. And as you can tell, our Magicka is literally not going below like 60% the whole time. It really, really helps because we have so much sustain in this build. We gain so much Magicka back, and we're doing a lot of damage for such a simple rotation and such simple armor sets. Again, some of you are going to be able to push this damage even more than I do, because I don't even have the best attack weaving, and some of you guys are going to be able to push this even more. But I've been absolutely loving the Magicblade. And again, when you get to 25% health, you just use Impale, okay? And that is a insane execute. I mean, it's absolutely insane. But that's the rotation. It's that simple. Again, if you have any questions, I will have a written guide on this eventually on the website. I'm trying to catch up with all my guides and written guides, but I absolutely love this setup. I think this is just a very fun beginner-friendly build. Again, it's something that I typically did not think Magicblade was that easy to use, but after going through this, I'm starting to understand a little bit more and really just like really fall in love with the Magicblade. So I hope you all liked this video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, heavy tech that bell icon to stay up to date on all the content in the channel. We're gonna go over the fashion real quick if you're curious, because we always do. But this is Minotaur everything, basically Minotaur light helmet and then medium everything else. We're using Warrior Steel dye and we're using Scintillating Scarlet dye. The staff is Abner Tharn staff and a Hollowjack staff, and the skin is Void Pathosis. So that is my fashion as well. But again, you can always come by on twitch.tv/brahwegotthis Monday through Friday, basically, is my schedule. It changes sometimes per week, so just stay tuned for that on Twitter and in the Discord. Check out the Discord as well. And you can check all this stuff out on brahwegotthis.com. But until next time, y'all, just remember to have faith, be great, and I'll see you on ESO.